right before I drive away to forget. Why do I give a damn at everything we set up? G'day guys, Chaos Chronicles. Alright, so today we're going to do a video on Greg Bluey Brazzle. And if you don't know who that is, on the Chopper movie, Bluey.
And as for you, you butt-ulcerated knucklehead, when it starts, you jump straight in. If you stand there thinking about it for 2 fucking seconds, you are back there in the yard crying like when I first met you, right?
Yeah.
Is based on in real life Greg Brazil. So if you know, you know. If you've been to prison in Victoria and you've been to the slot, there is a chance that you have run into this character. Now, he is in the slot and has been in the slot for, oh, God knows how long now. And like maybe 20 years, I don't know. But this guy's got like 3 life sentences. He's a serial killer and an armed robber. He went to jail, I think it was in like 1990 or something like that, for the killing of sex workers, Sharon Taylor and Rosalind Haywood. And then he also went on to murder the hardware store owner, Mildred Hanma. And so he was on a bit of a rampage and was arrested. And yeah, so I don't really know much about like Bluey's earlier days. I know, yeah, he was in Chopper's gang, and then I know that they were enemies, and like he's been in the slot for so long now, and yeah, absolutely ages. And so if you guys can remember the trial from hell,
Yak you dog. No signature, I refute it, Greg.
Turn it off! I go!
It's all right you to say about everyone else's family, you.
so he is actually the reason why that was happening. So they are all doing trial for bashing him at Barwon prison. And, you know, there were some big names there in that, if you know, you know. And so, yeah, that's what the trial from hell was for. It was for them nearly killing Bluey Brazzle, and actually he's got a prosthetic ear, and they stole his prosthetic ear. Now, I remember talking to a couple of these guys personally and saying how funny it was to have a fake prosthetic ear, and then, you know, he was like whinging about it after because it's worth so much, you know. Yeah, so he's in the slot, and if you've been to the slot in Victoria, you would know Bluey Brazzle. He's an absolute fucking pest, and like, well, will do absolutely everything in his power to make your day as miserable and your night as miserable as he can, and he does, and has some way of finding out your phone numbers, like your people's phone numbers, when we've all got like our own passcode to get on the phone. And so he finds out people's addresses and phone numbers and rings people's family and stuff like that. And so, yeah, he's a pest. I've been in the slot with him before. So one of my mates, I won't name him and shame him, but it was his first time in jail. He's quite young at the time. And I remember, like, I got to the slot and he'd already been to the slot, and the slot is locked down, like the whole, whatever you want to call it. So I get there, he yells out, "Who's that?" I yell out, "Yeah, it's Beer Ferraro." He goes, "Oh yeah, mad." And we get to talk, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's this mad dude here, Greg, and he's been like, he'll fill up my account and he's doing all this stuff for me, and I'm probably going to hook him up with my sister." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, mad," you know, like people do that kind of shit in jail all the time, hook them up with their family members and whatnot. And so like we're into talking, and then he goes, on to saying, oh, Greg this, and then he said Greg Brazil. I go, what did you just say? He goes, oh yeah, Greg Brazil, that's Greg's name. And I'm like, Greg Brazil, are you fucking kidding me, bro? And so like we were actually at MRC at the time, and so all the slots yards kind of are all next to each other, so you can yell out if you're in one end and talk to someone right up the other end, you know. And so um I'm like, are you for fucking real? I'm like, you know that guy is actually like, so there was these other crimes about chopping some part of a female off. I don't know the whole, but he's known as a sex pest. Do you know what I mean? And you definitely don't want to hook him up with your sister. That is for damn sure. And so, you know, and then I start, because I'm telling him, oh yeah, he's this and he's that. He can hear what I'm saying, and then he starts like, oh yeah, beer for this, and his voice is the most annoying voice. It's like, you know, and yeah, so he's an absolute fucking pest, Greg Bluey Brazzle. Yeah, he somehow gets all people's that he's in the slots with, like all their fam. Like, say if I was in the slot with him, he'll get like all my visitors' addresses and phone numbers, and then he'll put them on his visit list, and then he'll start ringing your people. Like, he's a real absolute fucking pest. And so also when we were down there at this time, he done this one thing that was absolutely hilarious. I'll never forget it. And so this one guy was going off at him and telling him to shut up, because he literally talks for 24 hours a day. It's like he never sleeps. You know what I mean? It's like he's talking when you're awake, and then when you're trying to sleep, you can hear him talking. Like, it's quite annoying, you know? And so this one guy's getting up him, and he was actually Brazzle's next door neighbor at the time. I'm not going to name and shame this guy either. And so, like, when you're in the slot, you don't get much, but in summer at MRC, they will allow you to have a fan. And so, like, what he had done, he somehow tied his coffee cup to one blade of the fan, and then had the fan so it was spinning like that, and then had it so it was only just touching the wall, turning the fan on, and because it was heavy and it's not supposed to have weight on there, it was only going slow, and so it was just going donk, 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 and knocking on my mate's wall. And this went on for, it was like 48 hours straight. My mate is in tears. He cannot sleep. And like, Brazzle's apparently got earplugs, like workers' earplugs, and he wears them, you know. And so like he can't hear a thing, but my poor mate can't sleep. And so like, you know, he's screaming, and like, you know, you can't buzz up and lag on him, you know what I mean? But so like we kind of had to deal with it until he shut up. But that was one of the funniest things ever, I swear. Like, what an ingenious idea. And just sat that on the wall, and it was ticking for 48 hours straight. And like, if you know, you know, when you're down at the slot, you can hear a pin drop when it's silent, and when it's loud, you know, and like it just echoes, all the sound echoes. The acoustics in there is absolutely crazy. So when it's silent in the middle of the night, and that's just going donk, 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 and just absolutely doing my mate's head in. That would literally do your head in. But a bit of an ingenious idea, and yeah, you know, he's an absolute pest, Greg Bluey Brazzle. He's apparently got 3 life sentences for them people who I named that he killed, and yeah, he's been in jail for, you know, 40 years almost, or something like that. And yeah, he's an absolute pest. He won't come out of the slot. He's an absolute public enemy #1. So absolutely everyone wants to get him, just because of the stuff, what he does to people when they're in the slot. People just want to go down there and chill. And when it's chill time, and people are trying to chat, and he'll just yell out and bang on walls and just make it as loud as he can to be an absolute fucking domestic terrorist. And so like, he's public enemy number one, and people hate him and want to get him for it. So he'll never ever come out of the slot, and rightly so, because I reckon if I seen him walking in the yard, oh mate, I would hit him that many times. He'd think he was surrounded. I'm telling you. But yeah, that's Greg Bluey Brazzle, guys, and yeah, plenty more of these coming up, guys. All right, I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome, and I will catch you guys in the next vid. Ciao.
I am also the guy who decides if you and your friends walk out of here or not.